So here it says China floats 2 hour daily limit of smartphone screen time for kids. So some of the key points here are Chinese regulators have proposed rules that will limit the smartphone screen time of people under the age of 18 to a maximum of 2 hours per day. The radical draft rules laid out by the increasingly powerful Cyberspace Administration of China highlight Beijing's desire to exert control over more parts of the country's digital life. The CAC's draft rules are a broader push by Chinese authorities to curb and prevent addiction among those under 18 to apps and smartphones. Okay, so first question that arises is like, oh well, they're limiting freedom, and right, it's is this to control people more, or is it an actual like, they care to help? But let's step back, right? We have heard some of those rumors, with like TikTok, how the algorithm in China pushes more educational stuff. Although there's been some debate on that. I don't know how much that is true. It says like TikTok pushes more degenerate stuff for the West to kind of rot the brains of the youth in the West, whereas the Chinese children, they get more like math, engineering, more smart TikTok videos.
Yeah, maybe we're just more degenerates in the West. So the algorithm knows we're
like,
degenerates.
You like
Here's
this
the content
shit,
you like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like maybe they're blaming TikTok, but TikTok is like, well, guys, you like this sort of stuff. I mean, I'm just giving you this, right?
Yeah.
Although I kind of, am skeptical of that too, because the algorithm sometimes knows what to push more, because it sees humans like seeing faces of people, pretty faces, pretty bodies, right, dancing and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think the Chinese population would be immune to that kind of thing. They would also like seeing those sort of stuff.
Yeah, because it's human nature, right?
Yeah.
Like, to want to see that. Like,
they capitalize on that, so the algorithm pushes that instead of smarter content.
So I guess maybe they are being selective on which content they are pushing, but maybe it's not entirely what's happening either, right? Maybe there is a mix of both. Like, yeah, like this, they are controlling part of the content they're pushing, but also maybe that population in China might want to see another type of content than here in the West.
Maybe, yeah. I know, like, I don't know what studies it was, but, Chinese people, like, they have more engineers and more kind of people going into, what are they called? The STEM fields, what it's called? Like science and technology and all that kind of stuff. Maybe also like just the culture there likes to promote, study, go to university, and that kind of mentality. But yeah, so what are your thoughts on China? So maybe just to give more context, so the radical draft rules laid out by the increasingly powerful Cyberspace Administration of China highlight Beijing's desire to exert control over more parts of the country's digital life. If the rules are brought into law, they could have implications for companies such as Tencent and ByteDance, which run some of China's biggest mobile apps. The CAC's draft rules are a broader push by Chinese authorities to curb and prevent addiction among those under 18 to apps and smartphones. 2021, China introduced regulation that restricted teens under 18 of age from playing online video games for more than 3 hours per week. Okay, so they did, yeah, this is the one that I remember where for video games they limited for
3 hours
3 hours per week.
Wow, that's not a lot.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Some kids spend 3 hours a day.
So yeah, I guess like when it comes to like my opinion on this, like it kind of comes down to like, what is the real motive here? Like, is it really to like benefit the population and to help them with their mental health, or is there like some other agenda here that they might be pushing?
I don't know. Yeah, that's
and especially in governments that tend to control their population that much,
especially
China. Yeah, like how could we be so sure that it's for the reasons they say it is? But maybe okay, let's say it is. Yeah, let's say it is for the benefit of the population, or let's say it's even to control people. Either way, in this case, it's a good thing because like people will benefit from that. Their health will, right?
Well, that's what I think. Yeah, like, okay, maybe we can get like a sneak peek into the room of all these politicians drafting these rules, and they're like we're gonna control these kids, they're gonna use their phones less, be addicted less, and then we're gonna push them to go more into like these smart fields, get degrees, because China, they're trying to build this population of smart people that so they can build their economy, and they might have those motives to kind of become this power ruling country, right? Okay, but isn't it still a good thing?
Yeah, I think so. Like even if it is to control the population, the measure they put in here, I don't think is bad, because either way, the population will benefit from it. Either way. Like, it's not like they're being like they are being controlled, but also like they are getting some benefit from it in the sense where they won't become like addicted and have potential health problems from these technologies.
Yeah. I mean, or I don't know, should parents be more in control of their children's device usages? And because there exists parental control, it's not like it's just that here the rules, as it says, it requires smartphones to have a minor mode for those under 18 that should be easy to access when the device powers on as either a home screen icon or the system settings. And it says the minor mode will allow parents to manage that their kids see and allow internet service providers to show content based on a user's age. According to CAC, children under the age of 3 should be shown songs and audio-focused content. Those between 12 and 16 can be exposed to educational and news content.
Okay, so at least it'll be promoted podcasts more often.
I think we got a good market there, the Chinese market to
yeah,
get
but
into.
all jokes aside, like, yeah, I think this minor mode thing, like, it could be effective, but there are also bad parents out there, right? Like, they're not necessarily gonna put in the right measures for their own children, and it's almost like they need the government to do it for them.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? In the West, we're more about less of the government intervention and my freedom, and I decide how I want to, I don't know why I could.
You went to the American accent.
Yeah, I got there certain accent. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's that mentality, right? The difference there. I think we need to find a balance, though, because at the end of the day, people should have their autonomy and choose what they want to do. But that's the thing, though. In the West, we tout freedom constantly, right? But it's like you have a population that isn't necessarily educated well to use their freedom correctly. So you have all these sort of zombie people, freedom. And then you have all these big ass corporations who are like, yeah, you like your freedom? Here, take this candy. Here, take this device. Oh, you like that? Oh, yeah, take it. It's your freedom. You're the one who chooses it, right?
Yeah.
The government's like, wait a second, why is my population being addicted? Well, freedom, but you don't educate the population correctly. You know what I'm saying, right?
Freedom is a hell of a drug, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like we want our freedom so much we do anything for it, but maybe even become addicted to these technologies.
It becomes philosophical, but it's sometimes in the past how you've had tyranny come up, right? How some people would rather someone dictate to them what to do. At least they know the right path instead of being free to choose and not knowing.
So people like that kind of direction in their lives, right? Like, oh, you're allowed to do this and you can't do that.
Yeah.
And it helps people go in the right direction. Whereas if they have like too many options, they're like, ooh, where do I go? I could go here.
And then you could be easily manipulated.
Yeah, exactly. It could be easily manipulated. So,
well, yeah. So that's the thing. It's more of a systemic issue and a cultural thing where, the population a lot of times are being used as pawns for a greater, cause of like building more capital, right? Profits and the whole system that we're living in. It's like, does the government care about us? At the end of the day, is that it? Right?
Yeah. I mean, it could be debatable at times, but I guess here there's like pros and cons to this measure that they're trying to put in. The pros are obviously, better health, and the cons are, the control that they might be imposing.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we don't even know like which one's which. We don't know we don't know the real agenda here.
That's the thing. Yeah. But anyways, that's the thing. That aside, I think we can kind of learn something from this. And maybe consider, certain measures, right?
But would you allow, like, would you want to have this kind of measure put in, like in countries like Canada or the US?
Well, that's the thing, though. It's because this measure is saying, oh, you guys, the parents, you don't know how to parent your child or control their screen time. I'm gonna impose a law here for you to do it. I think a better way would be that parents are educated enough to, control and limit the screen time of their children.
So maybe the answer is better education on these, devices and the potential, nefarious effects they have on our health.